So after he grabbed the girl that I was dancing with, reached out and grabbed his arm and said, you don't do that shit. And immediately, this huge behemoth grabbed me by the throat and pulled his hand back to pulverize my face. That and a self-defense lesson on Coffee with Alain this morning. I appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate everybody watches replays, listens to the podcast. All of you greatly appreciated. I'm here with a Scooby-Doo mug today just because it's a big mug and wanted some extra coffee this morning. Hope your day is starting out well. Second day of chemo for this new drug, of the 12 weeks of this new drug. The first 4 sessions were this other stuff, and now they switched last week. And so hopefully the allergic reaction she had last week won't happen this week. They're going to slow the drip and give her more Benadryl and stuff. So got that going on today. But I wanted to talk about self-defense and an extremely important concept, which is attack back fiercely. Yes, I understand it is good to know some defense. It's good to know how not to get hit. And that's with movement in different ways we can prevent ourselves from being hit. However, there's a lot of truth in the old adage, the best defense is a good offense. Because you can't stop an attack by just defending and protecting yourself. At some point, you need to go offensive and stop the threat. And if you can do that immediately, you're going to be better off. So immediately attacking back ferociously, savagely, with everything you have, and not stopping until the threat is neutralized is often one of the best things you can do to keep yourself safe. Obviously, it depends on the situation. Some people, you do that, you're going to jail. Well, it depends on when you're doing it. An aggressive panhandler comes up to me wanting money. I'm not going to go all crazy and just pound the heck out of him and go attack back viciously until he's neutralized. This is for when your life is on the line. When somebody wants to seriously hurt you, kill you, you're going to neutralize them. And if you attack back ferociously, immediately, often that can be the best choice. Not 100%, because nothing is 100% in this world. And any self-defense instructor that says this is 100%, no. Except maybe 100% if you avoid it is going to be your best thing. Yes, but we can't 100% of the time avoid everything. We can do our best, and that's one of the reasons I teach situational awareness and avoidance and recognizing things. That's one of the reasons that you should go to Enjoy Life Safely, download the ebook, How to Stay Safe in This Crazy World. That'll teach you a lot of things to help you avoid it so you never get to this point. And if you live right, practice the safe habits that I teach in that book. Practice the safe habits that I share in the newsletter and on Coffee with Alain. There's a good chance you will never have to use physical skills. I still think it's important to know some physical skills because, again, nothing's 100%, and I want you prepared. I want you prepared with a Reflex Protect. That'll give you a tool to defend yourself rather than having to just use your hands and feet and knees and elbows and teeth and headbutts and everything else you have available. But when all else fails, often attacking back ferociously, immediately, can be your best course of action. This was true back years ago, back when I was in the Army. Went out to a bar with a buddy. He was with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's friend was visiting from Seoul. We were in Dung Dachan, which was just outside of Camp Casey, which was connected to Camp Hovey, where John and I were from. So we're at a bar in Dung Dachan. We're out. John's dancing with his girlfriend. I'm dancing with his girlfriend's friend because she didn't speak very much English. I didn't speak much Korean at the time. There wasn't really much we could do sitting at the table with each other. So let's just go dance with John and his girlfriend. So we're out there dancing. Now, there were these 2 big giant guys that were in the bar, and they were walking around like they were, the king of everything. Learned later, I guess they were tankers or something. Anyway, one of them walked by and grabbed the girl I was dancing with's butt. I instinctively just reached out and grabbed his arm and was like, you don't do shit like that. He immediately grabbed me around the throat and pulled his fist back to pulverize my face. Before he could do that, I launched at him, and just with everything I could. And we went down in a pile, and I was just pounding everything I could pound. He had sunglasses. I mean, it was night and we're in a club, but, he was wearing his sunglasses up like this because, he was cool. And I remember just smashing the heck out of those sunglasses into his head and just pounding his face, pounding his head, pounding everything I could pound, because I didn't want to give this guy a second chance. He was huge, way bigger than me. If he would have punched me in the face, it could have knocked me out. And so I was just pounding the heck out of him. His buddy came over to try to pick me off and pull me off of the guy. And that's when John got involved and said, hey, stay out of it. That's my friend. And then John and him got into it. And the entire bar erupted into a fight. It was sort of like a movie. John and I were done. I mean, my guy he was out. John had messed up his guy, cut his face super bad with the ring that John used to wear. But people were fighting all over the place, and not John and I. So we're trying to get to the door and get the girls and get out of there. And I remember, a bouncer grabbed me, a Korean bouncer, and said, you started this. And I just knocked him away, and we're getting to the door. John's girlfriend's crying. She's like, so much blood. And John's like, it's not my blood. I mean, he was bloody because his ring cut that guy up pretty bad. We got outside just as MPs were coming. People were still fighting in the bar. And we took off and we hid, and we didn't get in trouble. We didn't get caught. The people that knew who we were kept their mouths shut. And everybody else, if people didn't know who we were, oh well. But there were people that knew us, they kept their mouths shut, so nobody knew who we were. We got back to his girlfriend's place, and he had broke his finger, so I set his finger with a couple chopsticks and some elastic bands from his girlfriend's, hair bands. That would get him by until the next day when he could see a medic. Next day at the formation, platoon sergeant looked at me and him and said, Here, there was something, little trouble downtown last night. And we're both just like, yes, Sergeant. And it was Sergeant Gerdes, who I got along great with, our platoon sergeant. He was like, I wish you would have been there, see you boys work. And it was sort of funny. And, at the time, if you remember the old Clint Eastwood movies where he played the fighter, Any Which Way You Can and Every Which Way But Loose. In that second movie, with Smith as the bad guy, the guy he fought, William Smith, they talked about playing squash. And after that bar fight, it's like, oh, you play a mean game of squash. And John and I used to just joke around that we were squash partners. But the key on that whole thing was immediately attacking back and not trying to defend myself from that punch coming. Because if he would have rained some punches in on me, it would have been a whole different story. So often being able to immediately launch, attack back, and take out the threat can be the best thing you can do to keep yourself safe. I'm not saying don't learn defensive things, but being able to immediately attack back is a vital skill for your self-preservation, and be able to launch into that immediately. You've got to be able to flip that switch and go into it fast, because if you wait and you start getting hit, you get your bell rung, and you're seeing stars, you may never be able to launch that effective counterattack. So you've got to be able to do it quickly. And often that can be the best thing you can do. Want to say good morning to Jay and Vicky. Appreciate you guys being here. Dixon's here, and Dixon says, it is when giving it all you have is the most important. Yeah, you can't hold back until the threat is neutralized. It's so imperative that we don't stop and give that person another chance. In the movies, the hero will knock the guy down and back up and let him back up, and they'll go back again. And in real life, you want to end it as quick as possible. And when you have the upper hand, you continue until the threat is neutralized and you can get to safety. You never give somebody a second chance to hurt you, because they might. And I don't care if they're better than you or if they just get lucky. If they hurt you, it could be over for you. Now, again, avoiding it entirely, that's the best. I mean, that's what we should try to do. But situations where we can't avoid it, a good, effective offense can often mean the biggest difference. And so we have to be able to turn it on, keep it on, until the threat is stopped and we can then get somewhere safe. Dixon also said, Clyde the orangutan was the best part of those 2 Eastwood movies. Yeah, Right Turn, Clyde. Yeah, he was fun. An amazing thing about orangutans is, boy, they are super strong and powerful. You wouldn't want to mess with an orangutan. They're way stronger and more powerful than we are. But those were fun movies if you're a Clint Eastwood fan. But Will Smith, great actor, was in that second movie with him. But Squash Partners was something that John and I used to call each other because of that movies back then. And it was sort of funny, too. Had a roommate, Ike Gilkerson at the time, brand new into Korea. He was at the bar. And the next day, he said, oh, I saw you guys, and I saw the fight started. I wanted to help, but it didn't look like you guys needed help. And then I got punched by some guy. And as we're talking, he's like, yeah, everything they say about you two is true. John and I had a little bit of reputation about stuff. And reputations can be good and they can be bad. We'll talk about those at a different time. But I told this story in my first book, Hard-Won Wisdom from the School of Hard Knocks, published by Paladin Press way back in 1996. A couple other editions came out. Now Paladin is closed, but there's a revised edition available on Amazon. Paper, Kindle. So Hard-Won Wisdom from the School of Hard Knocks. You can read that story and lessons and a whole bunch of other good stuff on practical self-defense. Jay says, heck yeah. Appreciate that, Jay. Get that ebook or the paper book from Amazon if you want to know some more about self-defense. My first book from Paladin Press. Hard to believe it's so many years ago, but I've been doing this a long time. Go to enjoylifesafely.com. Download that ebook, How to Stay Safe in Our Crazy World. Get some information. Learn some ways to keep yourself and your family safe, so you never have these physical confrontations. That's the ideal. That way we can just go out and enjoy more of life and be exceptional. Jay says, scrap the caddy, Clyde. Right, yep. When he took that guy's Cadillac, that was a good scene, Jay. Chad says, I have an autographed copy. Appreciate that, Chad. Appreciate you being here. You might have one of the original Paladin autograph copies too, with the ugly cover that Paladin, the first cover. If you get the cover now, it has a picture of me and a buddy from the military on the cover. He was in one of my first videos with Paladin Press with me, Brian Hurd. But the original Paladin cover was sort of an ugly cover. But hey, the information in it's solid. Information's good. Help you be better prepared for some of the stuff that's out there. Just like the newsletter does, just like the ebooks that Enjoy Life Safely does. And Chad says circa 1996. Yep, that was the original one that came out with Paladin Press in 96. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Go out, make it a tremendous Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow.